slap you. One massive hand slap. Yeah. Hi, how are you doing? Now let me explain a little bit of the background of how we ended up coming here today. Well, us anyway. Now our homework, which is kind of the name of the night, we're kind of like a kind of collective of 6 writers. And we kind of come together about once a month to kind of do a scratch night there. Now our kind of collective name is R16, and that kind of breaks down as Tim Clare, John Osborne, Luke Wright, Joe Dunthorne, Chris Hicks, and myself. And basically, like this kind of space here is like it's our opportunity just to try out kind of unrehearsed, like unplanned stuff. And basically, kind of implicit in that is that if there's anything that's like inherently shit, you just ignore it. Or like you just kind of accept it as part of like the grand design. So are you all happy with that? Can you just say I do for me? I do. Okay. Well that's signed and sealed. Now every year we kind of run this. Okay. Like in every year at some point in our kind of 6-month run, we try and produce like one whole kind of brand new kind of like hour-long kind of piece of show or like whatever. Now, like in previous years, like last year, we made a documentary about doing like a tour of like our kind of crappy hometowns. The year previous to that, we made a show about video games called Infinite Lives. And like previous to that as well, we've written shows about corporate PowerPoint presentations and motorway service stations and boy bands. Now, the one thing that ties all those things together is the fact that they are all like inherently shit. Okay, that they are kind of like they're kind of devoid of kind of poetry or inspiration or kind of any kind of like life whatsoever. I mean, you just got to imagine yourself, right? You're coming home for a PowerPoint presentation on your way to visit your parents. And you stop off in, I don't know, like South Mims services, and like, while you're standing in there, Westlife's where you say nothing at all, comes over and kind of tangle. That's a fucking uninspiring moment you're having right there. Right? If you were Bethnal, you just throw yourself in the fountain and cry. But like, there's something about those things that kind of like really interests us, and it's that interest which led the Scottish Poetry Review to recently describe us as brilliantly, ingeniously shit. We're all really proud of that one. However, I think what we've chosen to do this evening is probably like our biggest challenge yet, right? Like what we're trying to do this evening is to try and find poetry in like the most uninspired, featureless, inhuman place in the planet. Here.
Last Barman poet.
Give us a kiss, you sexy beast! Go for it.
I see America drinking the fabulous cocktails I make. America's getting stinking on something I stir or shake. The sex on the beach. Yeah. The schnapps made from peach. The velvet hammer. The Alabama slammer. I make things with juice and froth, the pink squirrel, the three-toed sloth. I make drinks so sweet and snazzy, the iced tea, the kamikaze, the orgasm.
Ooh, hands up the merchandise.
The death spasm. The Singapore sling, the ding-a-ling.
Ding-a-ling?
America, you're just devoted to every flavor I've got. But if you want to get loaded, why don't you just order a shot?
Yes, that's the last Barman poet there, like a poem read by Tom Cruise. Of course, if you were God, right, and you had to hide the least poetic thing in the universe somewhere, where would you hide it? Only a genius would hide it inside a poem itself. So yeah, that's the last Barman poet, the poem from the film Cocktail, which is a romantic drama about a talented and ambitious bartender who aspires to move to the big city and become something, which is hence why he just got onto a bar and recited a poem. It doesn't make any sense to you, don't worry, like, we've watched this film like a lot over the last kind of like fortnight, and we pretty much, we're none the wiser either. And The Last Barman Poet pretty much breaks every single rule of performance poetry before going on to break rules of logic, causality, and the fundamental fabric of the universe. But I think, like, before we get further, like, Chris is our major analyst on the team here, so, like, Chris, do you want to do like a little frame-by-frame analysis of like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, it's, obviously you guys have seen it and stuff, it's easy to laugh, but there's quite a lot going on there, so some of the major beats of kind of narrative and thematic development. Okay, right. What is this place? There's like 400 to 600 people spread over 2 floors. A ground floor on which they can enjoy the sight of a bar the size of a small truck, staffed by 2 guys who dance badly rather than making drinks, and a mezzanine at which they can enjoy a wide selection of precisely fuck all. Okay. The chant "more poems, more poems, more poems" has never been heard on the earth in real life. It's also in response to like the world's worst poem. Actually, a poem that's actually worse than The Last Barman Poet itself. This.
I am the world's first yuppie poet. The poem is entitled "The Bottom Line."
Stick it in your Volvo!
Money isn't everything, they say. Okay, so what is? Sex?
It's better than sushi!
Did you ever make love to a pauper? You?
I'd rather hunt the camel!
Revolution? It takes money to overthrow the government, you know.
Whoa! That's deep.
Art? The more it costs, the better it is. And that's the bottom line!
Good, huh? You have no idea how much this hurts, okay? They're not shouting more, as people often do to performers whose work they enjoy. They're shouting more poems, more poems, more poems. Like they're so impressed by the world's first yuppie poet, they've all unanimously decided without one dissenting voice that poetry must be so good, they want the music in the club to stay off, on the off chance somebody else has got a poem they want to read aloud. What I'm saying is happening here is this audience, as a whole, are demanding that a poetry open mic be inflicted upon them immediately. That's pretty weird. Clearly steps leading up to the bar. Okay, either that or Tom Cruise has a vertical stride of about 3 feet. Look at this, he just walks straight up there without any jumping on it. It's quite easy. Okay, a man gets on a bar and wolf whistles. He may be about to recite a poem, okay? All the women near him start shouting yes, 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 jumping up and down, clapping and grinning from ear to ear. This to me represents an a priori enjoyment of poetry that I find suspiciously exuberant. Okay, yes we do is way too coherent a response from the audience, okay? Do you like broccoli? Yeah, exactly. The response, even with a primer, is incoherent mumbling at best, okay? That's a simple yes-no situation. And no, the crowd unanimously don't go for the informal yeah or traditional they go for the formal yes we do shout as a voice. Again, that's veracity to my mind. But being the consummate compere that Flanagan is, he's instantly formed such a rapport with the crowd, they view him as a friend, and the second time they ask the question, they adopt simply an informal yeah. Albeit one whose perfect timing compensates for its lack of formal overlay.
I am the world's last Barman poet.
Give us a kiss, you sexy beast!
Okay, it's the incredible smugness. It's like all like 10 seconds and hasn't felt the need to convey any information yet. He's just standing there. Like the smugness could take your skin off at 30 paces, man. It's absolutely fucking blistering. It's insane, absolutely insane.
I see America drinking.
What? No, you see America drinking. What acid condemnation, man. That's terrible. Everyone in the room suddenly feels really bad. Like shit, this guy's really judging us, man. It's really, really harsh. But wait. The raised eyebrows tell you that this might just work out okay somehow.
Fabulous cocktails I make.
It was an awesome pullback and reveal. They're not drinking like a bunch of assholes would. They're drinking cocktails so deftly assembled that even a red-blooded womanizer like Brian Flanagan has to use the adjective fabulous when describing them.
America's getting stinking on something I stir or shake.
You can't dramatic pause after every single line you say unless you are the leader of a country in a time leading up to war, but before the advent of clear mass communication.
Sex on the beach.
Okay. The cocktail is called Sex on the Beach. Said that way, it means intercourse on the part of the shore between high and low tide. Called the Sex on the Beach, it means being gendered on the part of the shore between high and low tide. An altogether more sinister image, I'm sure, in the video.
The schnapps made from peach.
Not technically a cocktail, more like a drink, actually. The fact that you include it in a list of things that you stir and shake doesn't make it a cocktail, it makes you a dick. The kind of dick who relentlessly tries to mix a single ingredient.
The Alabama Slammer.
Okay, it's the fucking reassuring smile that gets me. Like we're actually going to think that you've overexerted yourself in your little fist pump Alabama slamming demonstration. It reminds me a bit in the video for Living La Vida Loca by Ricky Martin, where he sings a bullet to the brain and Mimes putting a gun to his head and the hammer falling and the bullet hitting his head and his head flying back and drops back for like a half beat and then comes up smiling as if to say, oh, don't worry, my hand didn't really turn to red. Because that would be both brutal laws of physics and a tragedy. It's cool. Yeah. Do you know that bit in the video, Living La Vida Loca? Yeah. Do you all know that bit? No. Oh, that's good because basically I really remember that clearly and I spent an hour on Sunday looking for it and I couldn't find it. And like an hour of looking at Living La Vida Loca videos online is no joke, man. Like this project was really hard. But yeah, so apparently it doesn't exist. You're right, I'm wrong.
I make things with juice and froth, the pink squirrel,
Cocktail.
three-toed
Not
sloth.
cocktail.
I make drinks so sweet and snazzy, the iced tea, the kamikaze.
Why fuck with the the second actual rhyme in the poem? Kamikaze and snazzy rhyme in an American accent, yeah? But you go snazzer, kamikaze, yeah? There's like 4 or 5 like umlauts going on in the constant. And like the plastic terrifying face, what is this trying to tell us? What is it about the word kamikaze that requires this face? I spent like another hour looking at this going, I don't actually even know what he's trying to communicate to me here, so yeah, it's a bit weird.
The orgasm. The death spasm.
No, the action for orgasm is standing alone, hugging yourself, smiling and swaying gently. The action for death spasm is looking into the eyes of a girl who likes you and enunciating the word death. Kind of speaks volumes, man.
The Singapore sling, the ding-a-ling. You're just devoted to every flavor I've got. But if you want to get loaded, why don't you just order a shot?
The bar wasn't open until this point. Quite full in the club and empty bar, okay. Yeah.
Right, so the first thing that we did when we first took on this project was that we kind of decided we had to have like some sort of like general meeting. We've never really had a meeting before to kind of work out how we're going to do a show, but there seemed to be like a good place to start. So we all decided we kind of get together to kind of discuss the kind of the literary significance of the poem, and we kind of knew it was going to take all of our skill and expertise, not only as kind of writers, but also as kind of academics and performers, if we were going to find out like a secure way through the poem. So we all kind of convened on Chris's house about kind of like 2 weekends ago to basically pull together our findings and kind of discuss them together.